Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Women Oracle and Tarot. And today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on what shift is waiting for you, or what shift or breakthrough wants to happen now. So this isn't something you have to earn or work for or strive toward. It's something just like you lift up the hood and it's already here. Voila. I don't want this to be something that you feel like you have to work for, something else to achieve, something else to have to strive or earn. It's right here waiting for you right now. So that's what your reading is on today. I'm going to have 3 card piles for you today. I do want to share very quickly that you can now find me on TikTok at Wise Woman Oracle, and I can link that below. I also want to let you know I have revamped and simplified my site. That way you can access me and my offers very easily, very accessibly, very quickly. And you can find my primary healing course that I have available. It's called Healing Made Simple. It teaches you everything you need to know, tools, resources, and the support necessary to not only navigate past traumas or challenges or hardships in your life, things that you've carried for many years, but also how to navigate everyday stressors and triggers. So it gives you everything you need from a whole person, well-rounded perspective, and it is trauma informed. So go check that out. You can find those details below. I also offer only one kind of reading now. I used to offer readings all over the place, but now it's streamlined, it's simplified. It's called The Soul's Journey Intuitive Reading. It is a profound reading. It gives you the history of your soul's essence, your soul's journey. It tells you your overall themes, patterns, wisdom and gifts, talents and skills that you've developed over the course of your soul's journey. It shares what your expected outcomes and manifestations, even the purpose and intention for this lifetime. And it also shares with you how this life and the experiences you had sort of brought you to where you are today, how it's serving your purpose, how it's serving the ultimate outcome. So we can find purpose even in our hardships and our challenges. So you're also going to find that linked below. So Healing Made Simple, the course, it is a self-paced course, and that's available below, and you will find the Soul's Journey Intuitive Reading that's also below. So I look forward to supporting you in all the ways that you seek or desire at this time. And now, without further delay, I will place a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today. You are choosing from left to right. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So card pile 1. I feel like you've been going through, it feels like a deep, profound transformation or experience in your life. And so while that's relevant and important for me to share, or important for me to say, I feel like the deeper energy, or the one that feels most relevant for us to quote unquote unpack or talk about here, the one that's like really intense and coming forward, is this belief and or lack of belief and support, where I feel like through the trials, the tribulations, the challenge, the hardship, whatever it is you've gone through that sort of left you naked and bare and vulnerable and raw, you've either wondered or given up on the idea that you are supported, or that you're loved, or that you're cared for. And I feel like that's the shift that is right here. And earlier when I noted, when I first opened the card reading, where I was like, this shift is already here, it's so important to stress or emphasize that, because this isn't something you have to work for. You don't have to work for the support of God. It makes me emotional. You don't have to work for the support of God. You don't have to work for the love or the unconditional regard of God. It's already here, and it's already here waiting for you. It's us letting it in. It's us opening our hearts. It's us allowing ourselves to be loved, supported, cared for, taken care of. It's a decision. And I know that sounds quote unquote odd, right? Because it's like, how can it be a decision, a conscious decision to be loved, to be supported, when it's in the power or the hands of other people or of an external source, i.e. God, even though God lives within us, but it can feel external at times when we're talking about feeling supported from the outside. But it's one of those things where we're willing to open our hearts to receive that support. And this could also have to do with having hardened your heart, or pushed it away, or been resistant or reluctant or apprehensive with. You know, you might ask yourself, how reluctant are you with receiving love, with receiving support, with receiving compliments, with receiving gifts, with receiving a helping hand? How many times has someone asked or reached out or said, hey, I can take care of you. Let me do this for you. What do you need? How can I help? And you said, oh, no, thank you. I don't need it. Maybe you felt too tender, too raw, too vulnerable. You weren't ready for it, but then it didn't come around again. Or perhaps you simply said no in the moment, and you didn't realize that over time, when you do this so many times, you end up feeling alone and unsupported. But ultimately, that support is here and it's available for you, and it can be just a decision that you make right here, right now, to allow yourself to be supported and to hold yourself through that process of letting go of the layers on the outside of that tender heart of yours that feel like you aren't supported, the belief that you aren't supported. And part of it is because there is evidence. You've experienced that in your life. You know, you've experienced probably time and again, maybe even since you were born, maybe even since before you were born, you know, sometimes in utero, we feel that we aren't wanted. We might not be a wanted child. Maybe we weren't a planned for child. So we can feel that impulse from the beginning of our conception all the way up through being born and childhood. And sometimes we believe this for ourselves. Even if our parents didn't do anything wrong and they did all the right things and they said all the right things, we can feel unloved and unwanted. We can decide we are unloved and unwanted. We can decide we aren't worthy of love. We can decide that we are ashamed of ourselves and we're not going to open our hearts, and therefore, right, we aren't worthy of love. We're not going to open our hearts to love. Instead, we're going to be hardened to love. It's easier to be hardened to love than it is to be open-hearted to love and experience rejection, right? So instead, we what's the word? Guard up. We decide, okay, and this isn't conscious most of the time. Sometimes we can get a little sassy and decide, okay, this is what I'm doing from here on out. But normally it's a subconscious programming, something that happens in our younger years when we don't know how else to support or tend to our raw nervous system, our rawness of this pain, this anguish, this sorrow, this suffering, this inability to soothe ourselves, to support ourselves. And so we have to harden so that we can get through, so we can carry on, so we can persevere. And so it's a natural, automatic, subconscious impulse. It happens all on its own, and it's not necessarily something that we're doing in the moment, right here, right now. But that's what you're being asked to unravel at this time, what you're being asked to open up and even explore at this time. You know, where you have hardened yourself, hardened your heart, or hardened your availability to or access to being supported, to being loved, to being received, where you decided that you aren't worth it, where you decided that either you aren't supported or loved by God, or that you don't want God's love because he, she, they, whatever you consider it, source, God, spirit, universe, they abandoned you, they betrayed you, and so forget it. You know, F that, F him, F it. You know, if you decided, you've turned your back and said, well, I guess it's not for me because look how bad it's been or how hard it was on me, I must be an abandoned child of God, right? And while I'm here and while it's coming to mind, I want to share this really beautiful quote, something actually that my sister shared with me a while ago, and it was something that was given to me during a time that was very difficult as I had a major health challenge earlier this year. It's why activity on this YouTube channel has slowed down. I'm so glad you guys support me, that you are a subscriber here. I know I should have thanked all of you in the opening. Perhaps I can edit that in or make sure that I do that next time, but at least Card Pal 1, you're hearing it. I am happy to have you here, but I went through this extremely intense physical health challenge or experience, and my sister at the time told me, God isn't silent, he is listening. God is listening. So I kept thinking it was a closed door, a closed door, a closed door, a closed door, when in fact it was always an open door, but God was listening. That changed things for me because it meant, okay, I'm going through a very intense trial and experience in my life. It's one of the hardest experiences I've ever been through, and it feels like it's dead silent, crickets. I don't even hear crickets, just the sound of my own anguish and suffering. So I'm like, well, I guess that's what here we are. And it's like, oh no, God was always listening. And that really changed things for me, that I did have support, that I am supported. And in order for us to feel that, a shift has to happen inside of us. Because here's the key point that wants to be made here is that, let's say people are supporting us. So let's flip the script a little bit just momentarily, because I want you to hear how it is if we flip it and we still don't feel it. So let's assume for a second that people are supporting us. We have loved ones, we have family members who do support us. They're happy to give to us. They're happy to support us. They're happy to lend a helping hand, make us a meal, come over and do this, that, or the other. Just love us, bear witness to our experience. You know, we just have this loving, supportive family, tribe, village, community. Let's just assume that, okay? But let's also assume that we're hardened to love, hardened to support, resistant to support, believing in our own unworthiness, etc., etc., etc. We don't have this unconditional regard for ourselves. We're learning kindness still for ourselves. what's going to happen? We're still not going to feel it. So that's the thing. That's why it has to happen inside of us, because we're not going to feel it even if we have the support. If we are hardened, or if we have in fact decided that we aren't worthy, or that we aren't supported, or we are, have never been supported, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why that shift has to happen inside of us, because everyone in the world could be supporting us. We could be brother or best friend to Elon Musk. I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. And we could feel, and let's just say he's lavished us with all these gifts, great. But if we don't feel it, if we can't actually feel it, felt sense inside of us, receive it, it really doesn't matter. It's just like sometimes that experience of being intimate with someone. We're talking about like being physically intimate with someone. There are at times, right, when we're guarded, when we're not allowing ourselves to be open, we're not allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. It can feel either robotic, mechanical, cold, empty. It can just not be that fulfilling, satisfying, meaningful, even if it's this exact same act as you could have experienced the week before, or the year before, or 10 years before, but because you weren't open, you've experienced it differently. So the same act, different outcome, same act, different sensation, and it's because in one situation we're open to it, we're receiving, we're there, we're present, we're allowing, and then the other situation we're not. We're distant, we're pushing away, we're reluctant. And so then it's a matter of diving into ourselves, spending time with ourselves, being with ourselves, holding space for what's there, whatever form that takes for you. Is it, for me, I like to just sit with myself, bear witness to myself. Sometimes I like to write out my feelings. Sometimes I like to sort of ponder, I guess would be a good way to put it. But I sit with myself and I see what comes up. I see what's there. I allow what wants to come up. Sometimes I offer an empathy statement or a validation or some kind of support to my inner child or to the part that's hurting. But sometimes that can even feel intrusive to me. I don't always want to hear something being said to me or something being done to me. I just want, oftentimes, something or someone to hold space, bear witness, be there. I'm here for you. Like for me, and I'm sharing some of these things as practical examples, so you can sort of put an example to an idea. That way it's more palatable, digestible, something that's useful to you. I know for me, love is many things, but one of the things that I really love, this idea or definition or understanding of love, is the idea of where you're sitting there and you're hurting. Maybe it's emotionally, maybe it's physically, but you're sitting there and you're hurting, and someone says to you, I'm here. I'm here until you feel better. I'm here until this changes, or simply I'm here. And it's that feeling of they're going to be here no matter what. They're going to be here as long as this is here, and they're going to be here until or as long as it takes until this shifts. And they're just going to be here. And so it's just that trust and knowing that you're cared for because someone is bearing witness to you and being there for you. And so doing that for ourselves, similarly speaking, in terms of, what does it actually look like to care for ourselves, to love ourselves, to be tender with ourselves. So I think really a part of your journey right now, that quote unquote shift that's waiting for you, that breakthrough, is tenderness, warmth. How can you bring more of that into your experience? Where are you turning away from it? Where are you shielding yourself from it? Where are you hardening to it? So you can be with those areas and bring some softening, bring some soothing, bring some allowing. And I think her name is Stacey Neff. Please don't hold me to that. But she's an author and an expert and thought leader on self-compassion. And she also has worked with Christopher Garner, another name. Again, probably not 100% accurate there, but they have worked on self-compassion in the past. So you can look up their names, you can look up their books, their ideas. And she has a tool called Soften, Soothe, Allow. And it's about going into the places that are hard inside of you or hurting. But since we're talking about hardness or resistance or reluctance or an inability to really receive the love and support that's either there or not yet there, that we've turned away or whatever, but learning to be with ourselves, soften, soothe, allow, and it's softening the muscles and the body around that area and space. And that sometimes has looked like, for me, even massaging around that area. Sometimes it's just like this opening of our bodies and just letting that space open up. Sometimes you'll even feel energy leaving immediately when you just soften around this area. And then soothing, so this will work for some, it's not going to work for everyone. That's why I'm giving all 3 steps. Soothing is where you can offer an empathy statement, offer some love or support. Sometimes, again, my inner child wants to hear some soothing, kind, encouraging words, and sometimes it feels very intrusive and violating, where it's like, I just need my process. I don't want your words in my process. So you kind of have to know yourself as to how you're going to support yourself, but soothe. So however you can soothe yourself, maybe that's again warmth, tenderness, holding yourself in some way. Maybe that's turning on some light music, stepping outside for a breath of fresh air, but it might also be offering some kind words to yourself. You know, you don't have to do it all. You can let this go. You can let this, you can put this down. You can rest, whatever your version is that would support you, right? And then allow is that cognitive or mindset element of opening your mind and being available to, and being more allowing and open and receptive or flexible to whatever wants to come through. Because right, when we're hard or resistant, we tend to be narrow, we tend to be tight, we tend to be constricted, our bodies are, our mindset is. So it's about opening, right? So soften, soothe, allow is one way to support yourself. Really the shift that wants to come through is to know that you're loved, that you're cared for, that you're supported, that God, Great Spirit, Universe, whatever your term is, has your back, that you actually are supported far more than you know, far more than you realize. And I really wish there were words here, because it almost feels like my words might even feel unfounded, or that there's a lack of backup, because you might not even be able to feel it. It's almost like it falls flat, but there's such a profound energy behind that emptiness that you might assume is or feel is emptiness, but there's actually so much life in there if you were able to fully receive it or let yourself receive it. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, again, I feel like you, let me meditate on your cards for a second. I do have a message that wants to come through, but I want to see what else is here. Okay, so a good way to put it is armor. So you've armored up, you're ready for battle, because what you expect is to have to fight. What you expect is to have to be on guard. What you expect is to have to defend yourself. So you expect the worst, more or less. You're ready and waiting for someone to pounce, ready and waiting for someone to get you. You know, you're ready and waiting for the ball to drop. You're ready and waiting for someone to hurt you, say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, not do enough. You've been hurt so many times, it's just like whatever. You just expect it. It is what it is. You kind of carry on. First of all, part of your healing is letting yourself feel the pain of all of that. So when that does happen, instead of just armoring through like you tend to do, or bulldozing through like a bull in a china shop. I cannot believe I'm already at 20 minutes, you guys. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. My bad, but maybe you like it. I don't know. Maybe this can go, I don't know. Usually mine are about 15 minutes. But anyway, we armor up. Okay, so you armor up. Okay, well, that thing that they said on social media, whatever, I don't care. Like, it is what it is. Or like so-and-so, like we haven't talked in a long time, so I just really don't care what they have to say. Or like, my mom doesn't understand me, and she doesn't really know me, and she's never really known me, so like her opinion doesn't matter. So it's like we can say these things, we can give lip service to these ideas that we might have, or things like how we would like to be if we want to be dismissive, be able to be dirt off our shoulders. But if you're actually hurting, be honest with yourself and let yourself feel that, because the whole shit that's coming through here for you is tenderness. If it hurts, let it hurt. Okay? Yeah, if it burns, let it burn. Let it be that slow burn, that slow ache, because that's the thing here, is you're so used to pushing it away, again, armoring up, guarding up, getting your shield, saying what you have to say, doing what you have to do, peace out, mother trucker, you know, and it's like, well, that's great, and that's a good coping skill, and we do need that, right? There are times in life we're going to cut, and we're out of here because person's unsafe, they're not worth our time, they don't even know us, we're not going to spend all of our time power struggling, engaging with someone on social media. Okay, whatever your example is, sure, there are going to be times that are hard and firm boundaries, we're out of here. And even so, let yourself feel the hurt, the pain, the slow burn of that experience, because it's all about you becoming more tender and shifting into a space of greater tenderness. And also, again, knowing that you're supported, because these are one and the same. It's like the more tender you become and the more you allow yourself to soften, the more you're going to find that you feel the warmth, connection, support, love from others, from God, from spirit, from yourself. But you softening and allowing warmth and tenderness first. And if you're always on guard or armoring up or ready to fight, it's going to be harder to feel that, to sense that. And so there was something else here. Yeah, armoring up, letting yourself feel the pain, letting yourself feel the slow burn of it. That's good. Part of your process then is letting yourself feel the hurt, letting yourself feel the hurts. You might be one who has tended to just, sail on through. You don't want to give your emotional energy to every little thing. Like you got to move on. You can't invest all your time and energy into every little scab or bruised knee. And that's all important. And that's true. And that's a skill a lot of people don't have. So that's something that's important that you have. It's strength. It's empowering. It ensures that you get stuff done. And that you're successful because you can pick up where you left off. You're going to get back up every time you're knocked down. That's a great skill set to have. A lot of people don't have it. And your job, though, is to start letting yourself fall down, letting yourself have the bruised knee, letting yourself hurt and cry and scream about the bruised knee, letting yourself hurt, cry, and scream about the thing the person said on social media, being honest with yourself that you are angry, that you are PO'd, that you're whatever about this person who said this or said that or did this or did that, letting yourself hurt about even something that happened years ago. But it's not about overindulging in the pain and getting high or off on the shadow. This is more so about letting yourself feel what hasn't been felt or letting yourself do what hasn't been done. It's reconciling with, okay? And it doesn't mean we go back and we have to go back and shake hands with every single thing that's ever happened to us our entire lives and go looking for pain, looking for wounds, looking for things to lift a Band-Aid on. But it means if something's coming to mind, or you're being triggered about something right here and right now, there's a reason for it. Let yourself feel the burn of it. If there's a particular kind of pattern or experience that continues to happen, maybe it's rejection, maybe it's being ghosted, maybe it's, again, not feeling supported, maybe it's not what was the other? Was supported, rejected, whatever. I had another example. It's now gone, but you're letting yourself feel it though now. Not just dismissing it and moving on. You're like, oh, well, wait, how does this feel? How does this feel to me? And supporting yourself through that too. That's key. So tenderness, warmth with yourself, holding space for yourself, bearing witness for yourself, letting yourself be there in the thick of it. Not rushing into being armor and defensive. You can be with that person. That's fine. If you got to set a boundary, all right. If you got to say something to so-and-so, okay. But this is more so then what do you do with and for yourself? It's going to be that you're going to let yourself feel the pain and the burn of it and the ache of it. Let yourself feel that ache. And there's a book. It's called, so many books today, Emotional Intimacy. Robert Augustus Masters, I believe is his name. Again, disclaimer, don't know for sure, don't know if that's perfect or exactly right. But one thing that I really like in his book is he talks about the heartland of a feeling, the heartland of an ache, a pain, a suffering, a longing. Stay with it long enough, whatever you're experiencing, to find the heartland, because there is something there. Usually it's a longing, a yearning, something, a desire, a need, and maybe it's something else, but it's underneath all of that. So I'll give you a quick example, practical example on this, where I can get very angry in the Florida heat. I live in a tropical climate. Speaking of, we're in November. It should be fall in my head. I want it to be fall. I'm a fall person. I'm a winter person. Actually, I'm a Capricorn. I want to be a goat climbing on a snow-capped mountain, period. Put me on Everest, I'm going to be fine. That's where I thrive. And instead, I'm in a tropical jungle. So I'm furious. I hate it. All this resistance happens every year. You're probably gonna ask, why are you there? And there's always practical reasons why we're at a place or in a particular place or there for a certain time. For another time, maybe follow me on Facebook. I share a lot more things personally. But that's the surface level. When I sit with it long enough, the heartland of it is that I want to be where I belong in the mountains. Because there's a place that I want to be at, that I love, or my heart aches for, and that's where I know I'm meant to be. So because I'm not there, that's that rage, the anger, the upset, the frustration, the irritation that I experience on a daily basis being in a hot place when it's 90 degrees, 100% humidity in the first week of November, okay? And for some of you on the other side of the world, your seasons are flip-flopped, but you know what I mean for someone who is in the U.S. So that's an example of finding the heartland of an ache, of a pain. But letting yourself be there, letting yourself go there, allow the slow burn, because then you're going to be able to feel that support. You're going to be able to find contact, that love, that feeling, that stuff that you're seeking for from everybody else within yourself. And then even if you don't get it from anybody else, you still feel full on your own. So it doesn't even matter if you get it from them, although you eventually do, right? Yeah, so it's finding the heartbeat of the ache, of the pain, of the burn, letting yourself go all the way there into that yearning, into that tenderness, into that longing. What is it that you're really seeking? What is it that you're really upset about? What is it that really hurts you about this situation? And letting yourself feel that, that's important, right? This all comes back to you want to feel loved, you want to feel supported. And whatever shift, hardship, challenge, journey you've been going on has been supporting you to open your heart, or to be more open, so you can experience and contact the love that you've always sought and yearned for. So we're going to finish up where, speaking to, you've probably been in a period or season and time of your life where things are harder or have been intense or just had some curveballs. Something along the lines of challenges, hardship, challenge, if nothing else, just transformation, changes and transformation. And there is this message here of this was all heaven sent. This is a blessing. This is supporting you. It's taking you to exactly where you want to go, but more importantly, it's helping you to become exactly who you want to be, and you can trust this process. So the shift that's waiting for you, we're at 25 minutes. Oh my goodness, hopefully I can do the same thing for everybody else and make this equal. Card pile 1, the shift that's waiting for you is tenderness, warmth, and love. The love that you seek, not only from everyone else, from God, or from yourself. It's right here and it's waiting for you, and this is how you can get there. So card pile 1, if this lands for you, if this supports you, if you really felt this, do share below. I'd love to hear your comments. Like, share, subscribe, become a part of this family if you're seeing this for the first time. Please also know I have links below to check out my Healing Made Simple course and my Soul's Journey Intuitive Reading. And you can also now find me on TikTok, which is linked below at Wise Woman Oracle. So thank you, card pile 1, and I will see you next time. Take care. Okay, card pile 2, the shift that's waiting for you. Okay, so I feel like card pile 2, you're going against the tide or the current or wherever it is you're meant to go. It's like you want something, or you've even spoken to wanting something, or you've spearheaded something. There's like a vision, a direction, because I don't want to say, we could say it's a goal, a desire, a vision, but it actually feels more like a direction that you're meant to go. And I feel like you've been making it hard on yourself to get there or go there. Maybe there's been reluctance, apprehension, resistance, actively sabotaging and going in the other direction. I do feel like some of you feel like you have practical reasons or quote unquote excuses for why you haven't been able to make the kind of progress that you seek. Because I feel this energy of like, well, yeah, I know this, and this is what I want, and this is why I am where I'm at right now, and I trust, how I'm going to get there, and that I'm going to get there. With that said, the energy's still here, so we're here to talk about it, right? So card pile 2, speaking to, you have a vision, you have a goal, you have a desire, you have a dream, you have a destination, you have a direction, and I feel like you've been going against the current in one way or another, not quite lining up with what it is that you want. And we'll see, hopefully we'll get some reasons as to why that is, and I can pull some clarifiers if not, because I'm looking at the cards and I'm seeing that some of it's relatively redundant. But I feel like you have this dream, this vision, this idea of what you truly want. I feel like it's very important to you, and it's like if someone were to go into your ethereal, spiritual, conceptual heart and they were to open it up wide, they would find this dream, this vision, this obvious desire, this thing that is the essence of you, but like projected in a vision. And like that's really what this is too. And I think that's part of the message is whatever this dream, this vision is, this direction that you're moving toward is your soul's essence. Is it expressed in the physical? That is what you're moving into. And I feel like that's what wants to be shared here, is like the whole life's journey is about delayering or deconditioning or deprogramming or whatever the self, and to then kind of being turned inside out to reveal what's on the inside to the outside, and then we experience it in the 3D. So it's almost like, because I'm using that term inside out, where it's like there's this onion when we're taking off all the layers to find the kernel on the inside that is the truth of our being, the essence of our nature, what it is that we truly are, who we are, everything that makes us us, our values, our dreams, our visions, our essence, our qualities, our traits. And it's like that is like the inside, the deepest part of the onion. And then where I'm trying to follow my own words, my own metaphors here. Let me see. I want this to come back because it was important. Please give it back to me. But I will just keep talking and it will come. So you have this onion, you're unlayering the onion, you have the kernel on the inside of your dream, of your vision. And our whole life is about They're turning the inside out. So it's like in the beginning, we're born and it's like we're learning all this stuff, right? We strive, we seek for sensory stimulation. We want to go out there, we want to explore. We want to see the world. We want to put our hands on everything, tactile, sensory, put it in our mouth, put it all over. Kids want to be in water. They want to be throwing the water, throwing it at you. They want to be finding their physicality. They want to be finding their strength, their arms. They want to climb. They want to hit. I'm thinking of little boys because I have a little boy, but I also know little girls are similar. They want to dance. They want to sing. They want to be loud. We want to sing at the top of our lungs. It's like as kids, I remember being like, parents, turn up this music. What are you doing sitting here in silence in the car? Like, what are you thinking? And it's like, no, turn it up, louder, louder, louder. It's like, right, we seek that stimulation. We're exploring the world. It's adventure. We want to soak it all up. We want to read all the books, or we want to check out all the sites or play all the games or spend hours on this one thing. And we're just soaking it up, soaking it up, soaking it up. We're like a sponge. We're learning, we're learning, we're learning. Okay, and so those are like the good stuff that we learn. We absorb a lot of things. We have a lot of experiences. Learning, learning, learning. But we get to a point in our lives when it's all about unlearning, right? I think this is like basic personal growth 101. So I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but there's a point to this. So it's like we do all this learning, and then we go through this period of unlearning where we're delayering, deprogramming, like we were talking about. We find our soul's essence, but it's like we have this outside version of ourselves, this ego identity, this ego personality that's usually based on all the learning that we've done, all the stimulation, all the adventure, and all the did I already say exploring? Whatever that is that we're seeking out, that we're experiencing, we develop this identity. Okay, and that's our outside external personality we present to the outside world. There's nothing wrong with it. That's a wonderful experience to have. It's part of the journey of the human on this plane in the third dimension, and it doesn't always necessarily correspond completely to who we are deeply on the inside. Okay, so you might have a side of you or a part of you that's totally different, or what we could even say it's the difference between the soul and the human, right? Or the soul and the ego, or the spirit and the flesh. So it's like we go our whole lives developing this whole ego identity through this learning, and over time do this unlearning. And this inside out experience that we're talking about here is we're basically taking who you are on the inside and we're pulling that out and opening it up, right? So we want to turn this inside out. You've already been there, done that with like the 3D ego identity, it seems, where it's like you've already worn the sock the way it's meant to be worn, right? Where you see the pretty outside external aspect of the sock, right? Where it looks good, because on the inside sometimes you can see the fibers or the threads, and it doesn't always look perfectly pristine, but it's also the essence of the sock, because that's actually how it was made, where it was born from, the source of itself. But the outside of the sock, it looks nice, right? Just like our egos tend to be all wrapped up in a pretty bow. Maybe we do the right things, we say the right things, the people pleaser, the nice guy, saying the right things, doing the right things. We go to school, we become the doctor, all those things that we do for social status, prestige, money, materialism, blah, 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 right? We all do that to a certain degree, at least in the Western world. And if you're from somewhere else in the world, maybe you do it differently, but I'm sure you can relate. You can just flip it around to how it makes sense for you. But this is about taking that sock and actually turning it inside out. What's on the inside of you? What is the essence of you? This is what you've been getting at or trying to get at. This part of your life, the season of your life, this journey most recently for you has been less about wearing the sock like you always have, so that it looks good or that it looks nice or it's presentable, and really instead exploring the inside of that sock. This seam, this thread, this part of you, that part of you. Like that's what wants to come through for you right now. And so this is your quote-unquote heartland, and I did bring this up in a different context for card pile 1 in case you're listening through and you're like, wait, I've already heard this term. This is different, where I feel like heartland can also be used for like our truest value, our highest desire, our soul's greatest destination, the heartland. What we're always seeking for, moving toward, what it is that we actually want and move toward in this life as a human being, like what we're always like sort of efforting or striving, evolving into, becoming what we already are, but again, pulling it inside out so we can experience it in the 3D. So it's like, okay, you've already done this version. Now you're learning who you are on the inside, the core of who you are, and you're bringing it up and out so you can experience it in your everyday life. So what a beautiful experience that is, and that's actually the journey of the human, is to experience what's on the inside, on the outside, to take our essence and bring it into expression. So let me offer a practical example of this. So all in my 20s, personally, I was with someone who very much loved and cared for at the time of our lives. The relationship did eventually disintegrate or dissolve over time. However, amazing, amazing youth, all the memories you could ever ask for in the world, and we were very codependent with each other. And I don't know if I ever knew who I really was with this person, and I inherited his friends, his hometown, his everything, and sort of just adopted what he liked, even though I had a bunch of likes and they all tend to seem right and seem aligned. When we first got together, we were young. But then over time, I found like, well, this doesn't quite feel right. This doesn't quite feel right. You start to have like those growing pains. You're kind of hitting up against limits. Like, this isn't really me. And then it's now been in my 30s where I have discovered who I truly am, which is very different from who I was in my 20s. So it's like that experience of who I once was, which I very much enjoyed at the time, but it wasn't my truest truth. It wasn't the core of my being. It wasn't who Errity really is. It was just who I was at that moment because it was convenient, because those are my defense strategies, coping mechanisms, you know, again, codependency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just didn't know. I hadn't given the time to get to know myself. So then here you are, here I am, you know, maybe you're a little bit older, maybe you're not, but I know for me in that example, it's been completely flip-flopped where there's so many things I like now that I didn't know I liked then, so many things I don't like now that I really hadn't given much time or attention to then. And so basically getting to know myself as I am, who I truly am, the core of my being, the essence, but actually bringing that out into an expression to where it's like, oh, this isn't just about knowing what I like, it's about experiencing it in my world. This isn't just about knowing what kind of relationship I want to be in, but creating and co-creating and experiencing that in my actual life. This isn't just about knowing where I want to live, how I want to live, how I want to show up, but it's actually living that in my everyday life, right? So that's really where you're headed, card pile 2, the shift that what's waiting for you, it's this. But you've been running into this you've been running, hitting a limit, hitting a wall here. And I might have to find out what is required for the breakthrough. It could just be something as simple as following your own heart, following your own desire. You know, for somewhere here, you're ignoring yourself, abandoning yourself, not quite following through on you, on what you want, on your needs. Maybe it's because of responsibilities, practicalities. Maybe it's because, again, a relationship, if it is for you, child, something like that. And it's like, all that is great, all that is important, but all of that aside, this is about you. And so it's bringing that into form, because I actually don't feel so much like I do feel a lot of resistance, but it's not like I feel sabotage. It's not like I feel like, oh, you're not letting yourself have it, and all this stuff that we tend to hear, all this spiritual vernacular we hear thrown around on Instagram. I'm throwing around vernacular on YouTube. So what's the difference? But, you know, hopefully when you know, right? It takes one to know one. I try to be as grounded and real and close to my version of the truth, i.e. what I think is more of the truth, without the spectacle of it all, as much as I can. So anyway, all of this said, I feel like this isn't so much of you having to like release a block or whatever. This is more like you just redirecting yourself. Instead of focusing on all this that you think you need to focus on, doing all these things that you think you have to focus on, it's like, okay, but what do you want? Okay, but what do you want? Okay, but what do you want? Or, okay, but what do you need? Okay, but what do you need? Okay, but what do you need? So it's not focusing on what so-and-so wants or what they said or what this person, you know, all those practicalities, the excuses, the responsibilities, all the things that we tell ourselves that we have to give our time, energy, and attention to, and our commitment to, and our loyalties to, and instead realizing, no, actually, it's about giving yourself your own loyalty. You might be asking your job or the world or God or your spouse or a partner or a co-parent or an ex to give you your loyalty, when in fact you are the one who needs to give yourself your own loyalty. How are you going to do that? And it's a matter of making a plan, because maybe by tomorrow you can't drop everything and go move to Italy if that's your dream. Okay, just to give like a really easy drop it example, like, oh, you want to move to Italy? Perfect. Probably can't do that overnight. That's fine. You know, you can keep your practicalities, keep your responsibilities, understand your obligations. All those things are important, but start your plan. So if your end game, your end goal is to be in Italy, okay, in 1 year, in 3 to 5 years, or 10 years. For some of you, it's going to be a year. A year feels really keen, like it feels really close to the energy here, that whatever you want is possible within a year. Now, if you're saying, okay, I want to launch my SpaceX 2 and be the next Elon Musk, I keep bringing him up. Why? We don't know. But maybe that's not going to be a year, okay? But I'm just saying, for most of you, whoever's watching, listening, whatever, this feels like a year, closer to a year, or that a lot of things are going to have movement in it within a year's time. But it's making that plan and saying, okay, what I can do is start just getting to know Italy. Maybe I'll look up different areas in Italy and see kind of what the climate is like. Maybe I'll get an idea of what the people are like. I'll kind of find out their common or everyday diet. Maybe I'll get some books or a magazine from Italy. Then maybe I can book a trip to go check it out for a few days. And again, maybe that can't be 3 weeks at first, right? Maybe it's not you're moving there, but you're going to start dipping your toes in the water, dabbling around, exploring a little bit, and seeing how this can become a reality for you. So it's you have your end game, your end result, and you're going to come up with all the many steps between step A and step Z so that you can get to Z. It's about moving toward this vision instead of running against it and giving yourself all the reasons why you can't do it or why it won't happen. All you're going to do is turn and orient to yourself to the reality that it is happening, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to get there. Now, as soon as I say that, though, I feel some resistance inside of you, for some of you. So in terms of your resistance, let yourself feel that resistance. Acknowledge that. I'm feeling very resistant to this right now. You might get curious about it. Bring some space to it by giving it some curiosity, right? If we just go, why is this happening? What is this? Sometimes it doesn't open up. It's like, defensive, get away from me, right? But some softened curiosity of, I wonder why I feel this resistance. Now, this is interesting. Just letting yourself be there. Maybe you're massaging anywhere on your body where you feel resistant. I wonder what this could be. Oh, okay, so you're scared. So part of me is scared. I see. Okay, and what makes you so scared? Or then that part of you might come up, or the inside that might come up is, oh, it's not going to happen anyway, or oh, it's going to fail, or it's all not going to work out, or what's the point? Those kinds of things. You're going to start hitting up against that. And right, you can continue to be tender with yourself and go to the deeper layer and find the deeper root. Maybe you don't find a root. Maybe you find nothing at all. You can just acknowledge, yes, I'm feeling resistant right now. And that tells me I'm feeling scared for some reason. And I'm feeling scared probably because of this. Like, even if you don't know, right? And it makes sense that I would be scared because this is something totally new and something I haven't done before. But it's something that's really important to me. So take your moment and gather yourself and then get back, not to the grind, but to the journey, putting the feet on the ground to move toward this end game. Yeah, it's saying you want this. You're the only one standing in your way. That's what it is, card pile 2. We hit it, which is this. You've been wondering, I don't think you've been wondering why it's not working out. You haven't been wondering that because you know. But I think the shift that's waiting for you is to move into the wavelength, the alignment, the reality where you do experience, end up living your dream inside out, where you experience your essence on the outside of you and actually live out who you are, who you're meant to be, or what it is you want to become or meant to become. But you've been standing in your own way. So it's like all you have to do is do this. Oh, I'm out of the way. Wow. Like you might have all these reasons or all these things or all these excuses. Again, oh, so-and-so's in the way, this is in the way, that's in the way. That's fine. Make a plan for that. Make a plan for that. Make a plan for that. But it's ultimately you who's in your own way because you're saying, oh, I can't, or it won't happen, or I can't because of this. It's not an opportunity to give up. If anything, it's an opportunity to change your mindset and be like, how can I create a solution, or how can I create a pathway within the circumstances and the conditions that I'm in? How can I move forward? That's a really great way to look at it. Or again, it might be something that you have to make a plan for. Oh, well, I know that I need to save up at least $33,000 to move, probably more, because nowadays it takes, I know locally, which I know Florida is the most expensive in the nation currently to live, it's at least $7,000 to move if you're renting. So maybe it's going to be $10,000, $15,000 to move to Italy. Maybe it's $20,000 for down payment on a house. Maybe it's $5,000 for down payment on a land. Whatever that is. And it's not just money, right? This is just an example. I give very specific, tangible, easy examples so people can get it and apply it to their situation. But it's like, oh, okay, well, that is a problem. That there's some resistance and I'm scared of that, or it's not going to happen, or whatever, right? It's not an opportunity to give up or to resign. It's just saying, okay, well, what do you need to do then? In this case, you make a plan. Okay, I know within a year I can save up at least $5,000. I know in 2 years I can save up 15. Okay, so within 2 years, I will have what I need to move to Italy. What else can I do within those 2 years to make sure I get there, to ensure this plan happens, right? So a lot of this is very practical. It's orienting yourself and getting yourself in the quote-unquote reality where this actually exists, where you're not telling yourself it can't happen or it won't happen, or like you're telling yourself it can, but on the other side, you're sneering and like, okay, she's never going to do this, or it can't happen. I mean, like, okay, it's nice to dream, but okay, you know, all that stuff. Go to that part, right? Oh, this is her feeling kind of mocky because she's angry that it can't happen for her. Okay, so she's angry. Well, She's angry because she's scared it might not ever actually happen. So she might as well just be angry instead of being scared. Then down to the fear, it's actually grief. Oh, grief because it hasn't happened yet and it may not ever happen. And then you get to the pit of it, you know, like we talked about the heartland of it. And we talked about how to get to the heartland through an emotion on card pile 1. But the heartland, which is just this deep longing to live out your soul's essence. And then you can really be there with the pain and be like, wow, of course you want to be there. Of course this is what you want to do because this is who you are. This is who you are. Yeah, I get that. So that's how you be there for yourself through this. But it's ultimately you in the way. You are the gatekeeper. You will be the one to decide whether you do this or not. And you will. So it's like saying, be more like the Queen of Swords. If you know that energy in the tarot, if you don't, look it up. This is more about you being fierce, being decisive, being confident, being sure, and deciding that no matter what, you're going to get there. It doesn't matter how long. It doesn't matter how much it takes. It doesn't matter how much it costs. It doesn't matter what it requires of you. It doesn't matter any of those things, but that you will get there. Doesn't matter how long, doesn't matter what it takes, doesn't matter what you have to do to get there, you will get there. That's the attitude you're stepping into. Now, I feel like some of you are a little bit soft because, you know, when I say that, I can find that for some of you. And then for some of you, I feel like either a part of you or for some of you, you can't find that in you, right? You can't find that Queen of Swords energy where you're like, this is happening and I know it and I'm assertive and I'm going to make this happen. That's fine, because all you have to do is make this plan for yourself, and with every step you're going to gain more strength. You're going to solidify this. You're going to build that column inside of you that stands tall, that stands strong and says, yes, this is mine. It's going to be mine. No matter what, it's going to be mine. No matter what, no matter how long, no matter what it takes, I will get there and this will happen for me and this is how I'm going to do it. And of course, things are going to happen along the way. You might hit hiccups. It might not happen exactly how you expect, but it's just the point that you have a plan, that you're orienting yourself consistently to going back to your game plan, and that you can continue to take whatever steps necessary to get there. Because that is, I feel like for you guys, if you are feeling any grief or any resistance or any heaviness or residual stuff where you're like, why do I feel this? Or what's hanging around? Or what's this dark cloud over me, like Eeyore or whatever? It's this looming awareness that you haven't done what you said you were, or you haven't done what you wanted to, or you haven't been true to yourself, or you haven't really lived the life that you know is yours, like that your heart is asking for. And it's giving yourself permission and making yourself worthy enough and important enough to do that, to put your money where your mouth is and to do it, even if it might affect your job and you have to change your job, even if it's going to affect your spouse and change their world and you're picking them, moving them away from a family, even if it means you're affecting your children or impacting somebody else, right? There's always going to be ripple effects, and it's a matter of knowing that you're worth it. If there's any wishy-washiness on here, it's because you're feeling like you're not worth it and you're putting someone else in front of you and ahead of you. And you have to love yourself enough, it almost makes me cry, to put yourself first. Again, that's going to be hard for some of you. You don't have the Queen of Swords energy because you're not used to putting yourself first. All these other things are more important. All these other people are more important. So how does it feel to begin to put yourself first? It should feel like a huge relief and release, number one. But then it also should feel like the heartland. You know, what it's like to truly live in alignment with your soul, with your own heart, with the beating of your own heart. To live out, what is it when people say, they live by the beat of their own drum? This is about living by the beat of your own drum. So just see if there's any final messages for you, card pile 2. I feel like there's a message on this resistance, and I do want to see if there's anything more I can offer you. Let me see. So ultimately, card pile 2, of course, the shift that's waiting for you is to live true to your soul's path, your soul's essence, what it is that you want most, and to be completely honest with yourself about that, to be able to put yourself first and take the necessary action to get there. And I feel like it's going to require you to be 100% quote unquote naked, where you're vulnerable, where you're open, where you're raw, where you even might have to say to someone or have the conversation, I understand this might hurt you, or I understand this might affect everything in you, but this is what I have to do for myself, even if it hurts. And it even hurts me to have to do this to you, but this is what I must do for myself. I have no other choice. It's having those hard, vulnerable conversations, like willing to get naked and laid bare for what is meant for you, for what is truest for you, for what you know you want or what you know you need. Putting everything on the line. You're worth that. You are worth putting every single thing on the line. And I know that's a big kind of utterance. It's a profound statement to imply something like that, to explicitly state that, and to actually own that as a person. I can put everything on the line just for me. Whoa. And imagine that level of profound love to have for yourself to do that. That's beautiful. And card pile 2, I'm so proud of you, because this takes supreme courage and supreme love for yourself. But this is the kind of model and example also, though, that you can set for everyone that you think this might impact, or you think might upset, or you think you might rock a boat or have ripple effects, whatever it is you think. First of all, it's going to be worth it. You know that. But you're setting the model and the example of those whose lives you touch, that it's worth it to follow your dreams, and that you can follow your dreams, and that your dream is always worth it, no matter the cost, and that we're worth it, that you are worth whatever it takes to follow your dream. You're worth it. So card pile 2, please do share below if this lands for you, resonates for you. Do share your comments in the comments below. Comments in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. I do want to hear from you. I did share this in the introduction too. I have a Healing Made Simple course. Check that out. There's a link below. I have Soul's Journey intuitive readings. Check that out. And do find me on TikTok at Wise Woman Oracle. Until next time, thank you, card pile 2. All right, card pile 3, the shift that is waiting for you. So card pile 3, I feel like you've been waiting for something to arise, to pop up, to shift, to change. Like you're waiting for a manifestation, or you're waiting for something to happen, or I feel like you have been, there's this waiting, and it feels like also searching for something. So it's like you're searching for something and you're waiting on it. You're searching for something and you're waiting on it. Let's see what else is here. I feel like you don't feel the way that you would like to feel. I feel like for some reason you feel a little somber, you feel a little sober, feel a little dull, maybe. You feel like you're sulking, or just you don't quite, again, somber is a really good word, or maybe even slumber, and there might be a reason for your slumber. First, ask yourself that. Is there a reason for your slumber? Are you resting, conserving energy, recovering? Are you healing from something? I think as humans, we can tend to get wrapped up in how we feel, or that we don't have a lot of energy, or that, we don't feel as spunky as we once did, or maybe as energetic as our neighbors, friends, family, when at the end of the day, our journeys are very different, and perhaps you're healing from something. Are you tending to your wounds? Are you licking your wounds? Are you in a process of healing, of recovering? Your body, your spirit might very well need those reserves, might very well need that energy. You might be turned in to support that healing and that recovery. So keep that in mind, that there's oftentimes very good reason to feel low energy. We tend to treat it as something that's like a problem, like, oh, let me fix this problem. I'm feeling low energy, so I need to fix this issue. When in reality, it's probably there for a reason. Our body's intelligence, our soul's wisdom says, oh, let's not use all of our energy out here when our body, our spirit, our soul truly needs it. So I feel like some of you are turned in, introspective, reflective. I had the energy of like, animals, they tend to find a corner or a tree in the woods or something where they tend to, I even lick their wounds, very quite literally, where they just spend some time away to do what they need to do to heal. And so I do feel that energy for some of you where that's been happening. And so maybe you're waiting for this turn of the tide. You're waiting to feel better. You're waiting for things to change. You're waiting for this shift. And then of course a reading like this pops up, the shift that's waiting for you. You're like, perfect. I want to know when this gloomy cloud is going to disappear, or when this thing hanging over me is going to leave, or when I'm going to feel better again, or when I'm going to feel energetic or vital or alive again. And so you're waiting for this shift. But there's a wisdom in this, and I think that's the biggest key so far. There's a wisdom in this, and I feel like it's guiding you to where you want to go. It's guiding you even to a destination or direction you might not even have expected, but there is a wisdom in this, and sort of trusting your soul. It's almost like the energy of, and this actually brings up a little of emotion, has this energy of getting wounded or sick or something like that. And I have this like sort of period feeling of it, like this, how they say period piece or something like that, where it has this energy of like, not that this is an actual life or past life for you, but this is like the metaphor, the vision that's coming through to kind of capture the essence of what I'm trying to share, where it's like sick or injured or wounded, and someone is taking you in this sort of horse-drawn carriage, and you're kind of laid out in the back, and you're just getting better, and they're taking you somewhere. And the thing is, you're sick, you're injured, you're wounded. You really can't get up. You can't drive yourself. You don't really have a say in how things are going to go. You have zero control, for the most part, at least in this visual, this metaphor. You're laying in the back. or lying in the back. And again, not much you can do. You don't even know where you're going. You're letting the driver take you wherever you need, wherever they're taking you. So it's like, I don't know, it's a very particular vision. I hope I'm giving it kind of power that I want it to have, where it's like life is taking you somewhere and on a journey, and their soul's wisdom is guiding you to somewhere that you might not understand, or you might not know the direction of, or you don't really have any clue where you're going, why, what the direction is, what the destination is, but you're just trusting it because you have no choice. Like again, sick, wounded, injured, you can't get up, you can't move. Doesn't mean you are sick, injured, or wounded. That's an example that I have there, but that is one way this can show up. Again, it could just be down in the dumps, in the doldrums, again, feeling a heaviness, a lethargy, depression, just even that energy of just feeling not having any energy, which we can experience that emotionally, we can experience that physically, we can experience that in both ways. And it's just like, you might be ready for this shift, right? So the shift would be like the clouds leaving and the sun shining again, right? And coming out and shining, going from sulking to shining, as an example, where you're like, okay, and that's what you want. And for whatever reason, you're not there yet, you've been waiting on this shift. That's what you want to happen, but there is wisdom in the journey on the path that you are on now. And you're being guided to where, though, I haven't been told, but we're going to find out. Okay, so I feel like there is a transformation happening. Some kind of alchemy is happening on the inside. I feel like there's this reassuring message that wants to come through. Not only, again, that there's wisdom in this, but it's trusting that all the right things are happening for you. All the right things are happening in right order. Like the ducks are coming, in a row. The I's are being dotted, the T's are being crossed. All those things are in motion, like the gears are all working together to bring you into this place of experiencing more light. Because I guess that's one way to describe it, right? We talked about the clouds leaving and experiencing the sunshine. It's like that, where it's like, instead of as much darkness or heaviness or lethargy or lowness or whatever, you're looking for more light, more zest, more vitality, more energy, more life. And it's like, there's an intelligence to this whole process. There's a wisdom to this whole process. It's trusting that process. And it almost has the energy of, like, obviously when a child or a baby is in utero, they have no idea that there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Of course, they don't have any idea or any awareness or consciousness to be able to, like, ask, why am I in here? And why is it so dark? And when is the light coming again? And why does it feel so sleepy in here? They're not going to be able to articulate or conceptualize that. However, if they did, it's similar in nature, where it's like, it's similar in nature to this experience, where you might be in the womb now, but it is purposeful, and it does ultimately bring you to where you want to go. Even when I share that, I can feel some resistance within myself for you guys, because I'm like, okay, well, let's offer them something, just trusting that you're being taken. I mean, shoot, people in the 1800s were taken, and then who knows done what with. But that's Errity and her cynicism. So we'll get back to quote unquote channeling, but just saying, we'll throw that in there, and if we need to pull some clarifiers, we will, because I like to give people really true, grounded truth, evidence, something real that they can hold on to, not just like ethereal kind of, oh, it sounds pretty, but it sounds like BS. But there is something here too, yes, trusting that, number one, there's an intelligence and a wisdom to this process, and like this is universal. Like this is what happens. Like, right, there might be a black hole, but ultimately that black hole becomes something else. And there might be a sun, but ultimately that sun explodes and becomes something else. Like the process of life and death and change are universal, and it's not something we can undo or fix or control. And it's up and then it's down, and the tide changes from here to there. And so the whole point is like, yes, it might be here right now, but it is temporary, and it does change. And where you might be right now is where you are at right now, but you won't always be right here. You'll be somewhere else and another now in the very near future, right? The black hole isn't forever a black hole, and the sun isn't forever a sun. So it kind of has the energy, like there's a wisdom in this, and it's trusting that, number one. This is the life cycle, life and death cycle for any being or beingness or existence that's in existence. But also I feel like there's a call here for your own work and your own exploration, your own deep wisdom, and your own deep connection with yourself and getting to know yourself. There's something here about you pulling through this with a deeper awareness, with a deeper psychological skill set, with greater knowledge, but not just knowledge here, but knowledge here, and your body and your spirit and your essence and your existence, of knowing something somatically, of having journeyed through it, of having done it, of having traversed some of those roads, of having known those roads and walked them well and for a very long time, and maybe over and over again, and then being able to come out and then be able to give people directions because you've walked those roads many times. I don't even want to say that. It's like feels this energy of like knowing the roads so well you can then give directions. But I also wanted to add on to that. It doesn't mean that you have to like go doing that or give directions that you're ultimately going to come back out and be, you know, if you don't want to be, right, counselor, healer, whatever, where you're helping other people, you don't have to do that. But it's like knowing the road so well that you could give directions if you wanted to eventually, or if people approached you, you'd be able to give those directions because you've been there, done that so well, so deeply yourself. Like these grooves you've grooved a million times over, and now you know it so well. You know the inklings of it and the deeper recesses of it, you know, the nooks and crannies of it. You've searched every door, and you've opened every door, and you've searched every corner, and you've checked the attic, and you've been to the basement, and you've hovered in the basement for hours, and you've been here, you've been there, you've been everywhere. It's like you've explored the subconscious, the shadows. It kind of gives me that vibe of Carl Jung, where it's like that was his whole shtick, right? That was his life's journey, his life's work, was exploring the inner psyche and the self, and exploring what makes the self, what drives the self, what motivates a self, what makes them do or not do, say or not say, you know, what makes us be in sorrow or suffering, what makes us feel happy or actualized or content or whatever. Like that was his whole experience, his whole journey, his life's work. And I feel like you're gaining some of that traction within yourself, within your own experience. We are gaining that wisdom from having been through the depths, dove into the depths yourself, and again, learn the rooms, learn the nooks, learn the crannies, open the doors to where that you feel like you can stand on solid ground, and being able to not only support yourself and support yourself well, but even support others. It's like a tour guide. It has that energy of a tour guide where you are giving, you know, as a tour guide over time, right? They first of all, usually a tour guide, it doesn't even become a tour guide unless they have a pretty good, solid, strong connection with the area that they're touring. They've been there, they know it well, they appreciate it, they love it, they value it, they have a great kindred connection with it. There's something important to them, it's significant to them, right? And then they tour and tour and tour over the years, right? They become a master at this. They've been there, done that. They know every little part of it. They know who lives here and what's there in this building and this light and this tree and this safari, whatever, whoever the tour guide, whatever the landscape is. But they become a master at this, and like that's how it is for you, where again there's the soul's wisdom to it, and where it's like you're being journeyed through this, like it's the journey is happening through you to you, but it is serving. And it might very well be this was a desire of your own soul to know your own psychology, to know human psychology, to understand the deeper depths, to understand all those little things that come together that make a human, make a psyche, make our experience what it is. And so you're navigating this terrain, you're developing a really good knowledge and awareness of it, you're developing some mastery with it, and you're sort of becoming a tour guide of your own psychology to where you can properly and best support yourself, but also you'll be in a position to be able to support or help others. Not that you ever have to, or that's where you're going with this, or where you want to go with this, but that is something you would have in your skill set, your tool bag, whatever, because you've journeyed it yourself, right? You've been there, done that. Let's see what else is here for you. So card pile 3, what is shifting for you right now, or what is the shift available to you right now? Yeah, there's so much of this is exploring your own inner self, your own inner experience. It's like when things get quiet, or all the flashing lights are gone, and there's all the distractors are gone, and all the life, the party, of like being young and seeking out experience and adventure and all that stuff, the noise of life. Once all that slows down, or even comes to a big pause, or just disappears and is silent altogether, that's when we have the space to start exploring ourselves, and maybe even excavating and looking under things, and looking over here and looking over there, and doing some really deep introspection, reflection that we might never have done otherwise. So I feel like you're getting to know yourself, the truth of yourself, the truth of human nature, the truth of human psychology. What else might be here? Just feels like this great mastery of yourself, of psychology itself, of others. So I feel like card pile 3, I don't know if you signed up for it, because for some of you, I don't feel like you have any desire for this to be anything. You're like, I don't want to be a teacher, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be a coach, I want to do that. I don't know why I need to know any of this or do any of this or go through any of this. So it might be a soul's desire. Keep that in mind, that there is wisdom to it. There's also wisdom to any experience or season of life anyway, right? It's not like the sun chooses to be a sun and then chooses to not be a sun or combust. It just does. So, right, some things just happen because they happen, because it's just how it works. So that's part of just accepting the wisdom of life when we don't always understand it, may not ever understand it. But some of you might also be on a path toward that, but that feels very it feels very grounded. It doesn't feel like very dreamy of like, I want to be a teacher and a coach and a healer, and so I'm going through this now so that I can be that someday. Like, it doesn't feel that, and if you do feel that, that's fine too. But this energy is very much like, I'm going through something deep, I'm going through something profound, I'm going through something that I never expected, I am going through something so intense and so beyond, like there might not even be words for it, that I can't even understand it. I don't know why. I kind of just wanted to go away. And when is it going to shift? And Errity, when are you going to tell me the good news? Like, it feels like that. And then, the answer, of course, is what's the shift waiting for you? It's like the breakthrough is accepting that, or embracing that this is your experience right now, and it's giving you so much knowledge and skills and wisdom and awareness and wealth, really, that is going to just, it's something that is profound and rare. Like even Carl Jung, right? He was a great thinker of his time and a very rare psychologist, and people are still quoting him to this day, and very foundational principles because of the questions he was willing to ask and the places he was willing to go and things he was willing to explore that no one else touched or did. And so it's like that level, like there's a mastery to that, there's a profoundness to that you're able to then carry with you, whether you end up sharing it or not. But it is valuable to your soul and it is important to you on some level. And if it's not, it's important to life with a capital L, impersonally, right? Because not everything that happens to us is personal. We're just, I don't want to say a cog in the wheel. We're everything. We're also nothing, right? We're both this amazing person, this child of God, and we're a cog in the wheel, right? We're both this one individual and we're one in an ant pile. So it's like just being able to embrace the paradox of all of that. But the message here is the shift that's waiting for you is embracing where you are at now, embracing the feelings that are coming from this, embracing the experience that you're traversing, embracing this really sort of deep traversing journey that you've been on, and embracing the power and the wealth that's coming from this experience. It's coming from this journey, from this inner navigation, from this ability to be able to traverse and journey through every nook, cranny, and corner and know yourself so well, and know the human psychology, your psyche so well, that you could pretty much do anything you wanted to do with it. There is a power to it because just like if there's a technology, if someone knows a technology, whatever technology that is, incredibly well, incredibly astutely, they can become a millionaire. They can make an app. They can go out and invent something. They can get a sponsor. There's so many things they can do because they have mastery over this technology. I feel like you are developing a technology of the soul, a technology of the human essence, where you kind of know how things work, you know how things tick, you know how the gears all add up and how it produces outcomes, and you're just, a master even at what you do. But it's crazy because as I say this though, it's like almost like this resistance to this like teacher or leadership role, and it might be because that's not where you're meant to go or where this message is meant to go or take you. I feel like it's very much you're 100% centered and grounded in yourself, and if anything like that happens, it kind of happens by accident, where you're just living your life, doing your thing, sharing your process, experiencing your experience, and then boom, something, there's an opportunity on your doorstep to share it, or boom, someone comes up to you and asks you for advice and you're able to give it. Something so small like being in line at a Starbucks and you have a conversation that changes someone's world and you never even know it, right? It could be like that could be the success as opposed to some, worldwide fame. Not to say any of those are, not to say that either one is more relevant or less or guaranteed or not. It's just like the overall message is being 100% grounded in where you are right now. That's actually the point. The shift waiting for you is to embrace where you are right now, is to embrace all the nuggets of wisdom that are coming up for you, to embrace all the journeying that's happening at the moment, to embrace all the feelings that you're navigating, to embrace all of the inner navigating that you're doing, to embrace all the stuff that's coming up, that's not coming up, the learnings that you're having, the discoveries that you're making, the insights that you're experiencing. It's embracing every little like nuance and subtlety and shift and experience of this journey. And I wonder, for those of you who are here still and still listening to this, I want you to comment below, because that says something about you. Because it's a pretty quote unquote quiet or subtle or nuanced reading where there's not like, oh, a bang, or like fireworks, cool. You know, it's just like, this is deep. This is soul stirring stuff. This is like excavation. This is like getting to the bottom of the human spirit and the soul subconscious and like, whoa, black wholeness. And a lot of people will be like, get out of here. I have no desire to hear any of that. So I do wonder who made it to this point. So do comment below if you made it to here or make it all the way through. I am curious. So while we're sharing this, keeping in mind, because there's a kind of new message, new energy coming through here. So keeping in mind everything that I've been saying, that there's some wisdom in this journeying, there's some navigating that you're doing, there's some stuff that you're learning, there's some mastery that you're and mastery even feels too heightened for this because it feels so deep and so rooted and so from the ground up. There's not even a concern about top down and what's going to happen or what outcome is happening for me or where am I going. It's very much from the ground up. But I feel like it might be some healing that's also happening at a heart level or at a deep level for you, in probably a number of ways. You know, relationships for sure. Relationships feel relevant. Familial relationships, childhood relations and dynamics, relationships with past lovers or partners or spouses. A lot of relationship here, but I feel like all in all, you're doing some deep, soulful healing work, card pile 3. It's interesting to me because you might be saying, why do I feel this way? Or why do I feel so down? Or when is it going to change? Or when is the sun going to come out again? But at the same time, it's like, well, look at where you're at. Look what you're traversing. Look what you're experiencing. I mean, this isn't just run-of-the-mill stuff. You're doing some of the deepest work that, or deeper experiencing of the human experience that most people don't ever touch or traverse or even understand and will never capture or contact a day in their life. And you're living it on a day-to-day basis. And you're like, why am I here? Isn't that how it all works, right? Grass is always greener. It's like some people literally never have any idea until they're like, this is old soul stuff, ancient soul stuff. This is like, you're even beyond like having to be a teacher or an enlightened one. It's just like, you're just in the trenches and you're in the trenches and you're in the trenches just to be in the trenches. And if the sun comes out again, great. And if it doesn't, no different. That's the level of kind of acceptance or like experiencing that you're at. And just to make a point, that there's not even something you're seeking for this. And if you are, it's like maybe temporary or superficial or subtle, and it's not even like a primary drive or a need for you. But ultimately there is some, it's like you are doing the deepest healing known to man. So perhaps that's why you feel the way that you do. Right? If you're doing the deepest healing that is known to man, that is even possible in a human body, you might expect yourself to feel how you feel right now. You might expect yourself to feel a little low, or to not always have as much energy as you'd like, or to not feel like, I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. It's like you're doing soul stirring work. There is some, I do want to say forgiveness is an important word here because that's here, and I feel like there's some release and freedom that you're going to find through this. Any kind of dark cloud, any kind of gray area, any kind of discomfort, any kind of density or lethargy, all of this is going to clear, all of this is going to release, all of this will eventually be lifted from you. Okay, so that's reassuring to know that. So this is coming for you. It's not going to be here forever. And it's like as you're healing, when you're healing, like we're not going to go seeking for the healing, right? We're already in it. We're already doing this. You're already doing the thing, whatever this is that you're talking about, asking me about, that you came here for. And there is quote unquote forgiveness that's going to help lift you up and out of this. For some of you, that's going to land and you're like, forgiveness, that is what it is. Oh my gosh, you might even have an emotional release or something like that. But for some of you, it's just a matter of knowing, it's a matter of knowing that the healing that you're doing is purposeful and you feel the way that you feel because you are healing. And again, last but not least, you're learning so much that you'll be in a position that few humans are able to access, but also you'll be in a position to be able to share your experience or share your learnings, your whatever it is that your takeaways. You'll be in a position to share that if and when that day comes, if and when that time comes, if and when that situation comes. You've been there so you can speak to that. You've done that so you know how to support someone. It doesn't feel right, it does feel right. You know how to be authentic too. That's important. Few people can be authentic, can be genuine. Few people have walked the same road to be able to speak to it in the way that you have or that you will. So card pile 3, I do feel like a deep soulfulness to you. I do feel like your soul is very involved in this, in terms of there is a higher drive or driver happening or underway. You know, someone is driving this horse-drawn carriage. It's not just like willy-nilly all over the place. Like, there's a purpose. I know you're waiting for this, you're longing for this. The manifestations do come, a change does happen, the tide does turn. But for right now, the focus in your life is on your inner life. The focus is on resting. The focus is on recovery. The focus is on healing. That's what you're doing. That's where you're at. We can't be not healing if we are healing. And it doesn't mean we have to like make a big thing of it, right? And go seeking for more to heal, or like, okay, well, I guess I won't let myself have any fun because I got to heal, or I can't let myself go out today because I'm healing. It's like, no, we're not going to make a thing of it. We're just going to continue to let this be what it is. And we're going to embrace that, oh, I am healing. Of course I feel this way. Validating yourself, making it normal, normalizing it. Oh, no wonder I feel a little bit low energy. I'm healing. I can rest. I can give myself permission to rest. Resting is important for me right now. Oh, I am feeling a little bit low. That makes sense because I've been going through a lot. I've been traversing a lot of territory that some humans will never touch. That's why I feel this way. So the shift available to you, card pile 3, is in the embracing of where you are at right now in your journey and letting it be what it is and letting yourself be where you're at. Let's see if there's any final messages to sum this up for you. The final message for you, card pile 3, is that so much is being removed that is the false self. The things that weren't ever true to you, the things that you might even check out card pile 2 if that landed for you too, because we talked about this, but the things that were never true for you, that were never resonating with you, that was never your ultimate truth, it wasn't your true dream, it wasn't what you truly wanted, it wasn't what you truly needed, it wasn't who you are, all that stuff is it's kind of sloughing away or falling away. In time, over time. Not something that can be forced, not something that can be manhandled, not something that can be controlled, but it's this deep cocooning, and that's really what this is. It's a cocooning, card pile 3. Can I get out of this cocoon, please? Well, you know, you can, you can't. If you embrace it, then you're almost out of it, aren't you? Because if you embrace that you're in the cocoon or you're in the uterus, like in the womb, like we opened with, then so be it. It doesn't quite feel like it's imprisoning anymore, does it? Because we've accepted it. And so you are cocooning, card pile 3. It's giving acknowledgement to that. Oh, I'm cocooning. That's why I feel like this. Okay, I'm down with that. I can handle this because I know what's going on now. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that isn't you is falling away, that wasn't you is falling away, the things that you like, that you don't like. You're really getting to know yourself. You're really getting to know what you want. You're really getting to know your next steps, your next path, the next journey that you want to embark upon, your next chapter. But for right now, your mind, body, spirit is healing, and you can give it space to heal. And eventually, and even right now, your soul's right there ready and waiting for you. You're not separate from your joy. You're not separate from your happiness, your satisfaction, your contentment, your fulfillment. It's all right there, right here, right now. And the irony or the paradox is once you embrace that you are healing and that you are in fact resting, recovering, and right here, right now, you'll be able to experience those things that you're seeking or striving for by denying where you're at right now, right? The fulfillment can come because you've let it be. The fulfillment can come because you've let yourself be right where you are. So card pile 3, I know that was a deep reading. Let me know if you're still with me. And then I want to hear your story. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear how it resonates for you. Do share in the comments, like, share, subscribe. Please know I do have a Healing Made Simple course that could support you, especially card pile 3, if you want to check out that course below. I also have a reading, Soul's Journey Intuitive Reading. That's also linked below. Also, last but not least, find me on TikTok at Wise Woman Oracle. Until next time, guys, take care.